What was your first car that you ever had?
Oh, must have been an old Model T Ford, probably, over 17.
And what was it like?
Well, it's just a plain old Model T Ford if you ever seen one. You have to,
They're not glassed in, they just
no,
have a top up
touring
over 'em.
car, they just,
They're in the open. They don't go as fast either as these cars today, or they didn't used to.
if you got 35, 40 miles out of one of them, you was just cutting papers.
Boy, but they were something to have. You go Shelley and back in an hour instead of having to take a horse and go up there.
The old Model T days, after the Model T got a little old, why the field coils, the rear bearing get wore a little, so that'd separate the field coils from the magnet there, and the only way you could ever get them started, they can jack up the hind wheel and put it in gear, and that would throw your magnet up close to your field coil there. That's the only way you get them started that day, so courting your girl, you'd have to get out and jack up the hind wheel and crank it. Then get in, pull back on the brake and stop it, let the jack down.
You didn't have anything but a crank on them.
Yeah, that's all.
You didn't have a starter like they have now. You just had to get out in front and crank it.
A lot of them cranked with the hind wheel, pull on the hind wheel and start them. Well, the biggest part of them used the crank though. The crank was stationary on there.
Boy, if you'd get one of them things that'd kick, whew, they'd knock your head right off. You'd be cranking along there and all of a sudden it'd backfire and it'd just throw that crank the opposite direction and wow, you'd really get it.
All those cold mornings when the cars wouldn't start, and you'd have to get out and you'd jack up a hind wheel or put something under there, and then you'd get the crank out and you'd crank it, jack up the wheel, crank it, cuss it a little bit, crank it, take the crank and hit the hood of the car and maybe kick a wheel or two and go around and cuss it again. Pretty soon it'd start, so I think there's something that works in there. I don't know whether it was the cranking or whether it was the cussing or whether it was just what it was, but it all worked.
I remember a car that Myron fixed up. I think it was a Model T Ford. Or it might have been a Star. Anyway, he put a Brownie gear in it, and also the rear end out of a Jewett. That little car, it could go anywhere and pull any hill, as it had many speeds ahead and several speeds in reverse.
Now, when you had that wreck up in Cherry Cream in the car,
Ice cream. We was going right up to Lincoln and we had the ice cream freezer in the back. Darn Jap come along and didn't stop to come on the main road. So we hit him broadside and it tipped us over. Throwed me in the back seat on the ice cream freezer.
That was an old 28 Chevy.
Lorna and Ernest was with us then. They was ahead of us and looked back and seen our car turning over and she screamed. She tried to get out and would run back. And Ernest said, "Stay in the car. I can get you back there faster if you'll stay in the car." But none of us was hurt, only me. And I just got hurt because I went in the back seat. Oh, it turned over 2 or 3 times. We just rolled over and over. I remember going over, my gosh, that was a funny feeling, going over in the back seat of that car. Yeah, it rolled us. That was Easter. We was going up in the hills for Easter.